it becomes almost like a know your foe. I try to give people context of players that the Orioles are going to face. Coincidentally, I do breakdowns, Tim, on this giant thing that people can't see behind me. And maybe this is good for you. Everybody that we've talked about ends up playing very well against the Orioles. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great, actually.
Yeah, so give the context about how we got connected. One of your high school or college teammates from this area, Brooks, that I know, and I'm actually doing his pod later on today. And then you have the same agent as Gavin Sheets, correct? White Sox outfielder, Baltimore resident.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I played with Brooks at Millersville, so got to know him really well. And then Gavin and I have been connected through our agent, Jeff Randazzo. So we taken some fantasy football together in the off season, and that's kind of where that connection was made. And then the trash talk starts from there.
So let's start with that. So Gavin likes to think that he owns you, end quote, when it comes to fantasy. And I got to say, I'm like, hey, maybe Gavin's wrong. You also didn't do well in fantasy for the Blue Jays season, right? Because there's the video of you. Tremendous work as the bat boy.
Yeah.
Right. You finished in sorry, not to soar wound there, but you look great. I got to know then, who'd you pick in the first round to come in last?
Yeah, that's kind of where it gets a little bit embarrassing, I guess.
Oh boy.
I had Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Was my first round pick. Which is great. And then the rest of the roster just kind of went down from there. But no, yeah, I finished last. I was 4-10, and then didn't really know what was going to come with it, or the punishment that would come, until really probably 4 days before the bat boy was announced, and it was me. So I had to rock the 4-10 record.
Yeah, we have the picture up for our audience to see.
I mean, you lived it.
Yeah. But no, I had fun with it. I figured, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. And I gave 110% that day as bat boy for the Blue Jays.
Damn right you did. And that's how you do it. That's how you handle it, by the way. My buddies from my league at home, they're just stubborn on doing Waffle House, and I guess they like it. Maybe they don't. I actually got to go as commissioner with the last place finisher in next month to do that. The bat boy seems more fun, and it's baseball. It's friendly. Well, I hope you can beat the Fighting Gavin Sheetses on the field and off the field in fantasy football. But Rock, we were just talking about Millersville University, because Division II, amazing also the context. And I think we're trying to figure out, what's the name of the mascot, Rocco?
The Marauders. I just had to quiz him on that because I went to school. I went to Temple. So I'm very familiar with Millersville and whatnot. And I think it's really cool, man, that you guys, you not only have but you have Chaz McCormick in the bigs right now. So two guys from a small school in Pennsylvania to be able to do that. What was that journey like? And do you ever look back, reflect, and be like, man, we actually made it to the bigs. Like, this is crazy right now.
Yeah. The reflection part, I probably don't reflect as much as I should on the journey, kind of like when you're in it and you're doing the day to day and you're just really focused on what do I need to do today to help us win. So I don't know if the reflection is gonna come anytime soon. I'm just kind of enjoying every day and enjoying the process of trying to help us win ball games. But yeah, it's I think that conference, you look at it as a whole, and it's been some really good baseball, and there's been some really great players come out of there. Chaz and I, obviously from Millersville, but you have Lou Trevino, who came out of Slippery Rock. Joey Wendell came out of Westchester. And it's just like it's been a solid conference, and Millersville's really taken off. There and I, we joke around a lot that if I was getting recruited right now, he probably wouldn't touch me. That's kind of where Millersville's at, and they've really taken off. So great program. Coach Sheehan and I still talk pretty much every week, if not multiple times a week, and really great connection there, and a great school.
Now, you went to high school in Pennsylvania. Was that one of your only offers? Like, what did your offers look like kind of coming out of high school?
Yeah, I had a couple Division I offers, mostly as a bullpen guy, a left-hand bullpen guy, which maybe they looked into the future. But at the time, I did not want to go to the bullpen. And I had a lot of the PSAC schools, the Pennsylvania State schools, who are in the same conferences as Millersville offer. And I really was interested in at least attempting to become a two-way in college. So Millersville was one of the few schools that obviously that gave me a chance to at least try to hit and try to be a position player and a pitcher. That lasted maybe a year, and then I went pitcher only. but yeah, that's kind of it was a perfect scenario of a guy who was willing to give me an opportunity to be a starting pitcher and a position guy, and a school that it's what do I value, and I wanted to go to a place where my parents could maybe drive and see me pitch and see me play. So being an hour and a half from home was a perfect balance of, it's not right next door to where they're constantly knocking on my door, but if they want to come up on a Friday and Saturday and watch me pitch, they can too. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, and you got through it, and then you got drafted, and then welcome to the minor leagues. Everything you hoped and dreamed of, right?
No.
So I try to explain to little Kevin here. First off, is Kevin's bedhead an issue for you?
He did walk behind me when I came up.
I mean, dude, it was so much worse like about 10 minutes ago.
I have chronic bedhead, so I'll wet my hair down to everything. It pops right back up.
We were worried because I didn't hear anything for a while, and I'm like, it's either Kevin got lost, or
Tim found it great. He found the place.
I wasn't worried about Tim here.
No,
I was worried about you.
Okay.
So like, I'm glad you see the reverse toupee, and you got to get a little scared. You want to run away, Kevin, because that's what it looks like on the back of your head.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
Yeah, it's crazy,
you're a good kid, Kevin. I don't care what they say about
Thank
you
you.
on Locked On. But so Tim, to give people context, I played 8 years professionally in the minors. You, I think, spent 4.5, 5 years in the minors. Is that right, roughly?
Yeah, drafted as a 21-year-old and then debuted as a 25.
Yeah. So
yep.
Shout out to you. Amazing. But then the thing that's interesting, the minor leagues, again, nothing that you and you know what? The new guys they have it easy now. They have no idea what it was like to really grind before then.
Yeah. And I'll when you get close with some of the guys, and obviously there's a lot of guys who go to major colleges. I like to give them a little heat as well. That ACC, SEC, you guys are getting pampered compared to what we had to do in Division II in the PSAC. So I'd like to think that my Division II roots set me up perfectly for what the minor leagues may not have been able to offer. So yeah, it is a grind. That's really, you hear it all the time, but that's probably the best way to describe the minor leagues is a grind. And you get closer to teammates because there's probably 5 of you in an apartment splitting costs. And but yeah, I actually have some of my best memories from the minor leagues and from those moments when you're stuck on a bus for 12 hours or you're sharing an apartment with 5 guys. It provides some great moments through that journey as well.
Yeah, people don't really understand that. And I tell Rocco this, he's not made for it, to be honest, but
it's true.
It is true, but it's a grind to get to it. It's also what I try to tell people, at least in this age, like for an overall conversation, SEC, ACC, no matter where you go, if you have talent, you got to get through the minor leagues. Because I've seen guys that were ACC player of the years, SEC player of the year, and then not be able to get to that big league level. And then you have to go through all these towns and you feel like you're taking a step back is kind of what we're getting at here. So it's really just been an amazing journey. And for you, though, you got into a rhythm. But I think, Rocco, you had it on the stat because you did talk about a adjustment or setback. You had Tommy John, right, Rocco, in 2019? Is that correct?
Not only that, you got the shoulder dislocation in 2022. Not to bring up your injury history, but I just watched the video yesterday, and I'm sure you hate to see that. But that's like, man, just some bad luck right there. Just yeah, you want to build off that.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I guess for those out, you made the adjustment at the big league level, which if you can talk about how you adjusted, and then also kind of working through the injuries, because I think that's another mindset when I talk to a lot of guys that I think for everyone out there to listen, like that's a whole different animal. And to have it happen multiple times and you keep coming back, what was that all kind of been like for you to continue on with your career and you've had success despite the setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, my first two years in the minor leagues probably could not have went any worse. I tell people a lot that if the Blue Jays wanted to release me after the second year of my minor league career, like they had every right to do so. So looking back, I appreciate them kind of sticking with me and understanding, kind of the person that I am and the work ethic that goes along with it, and knowing that I was going to be able to make those adjustments. But yeah, it took about 2 years to adjust. And then it was kind of like back against the wall. Like it was a wake up call. I got sat down at the end of that second year, and it was like, hey, you better show us something in spring, or else you're kind of like on that chopping block. So I kind of went in with like a carefree attitude in that spring, like, hey, I'm just gonna let it rip because this might be it for me. So if I'm gonna go out, I might as well kind of go out with a bang and put my best foot forward, and kind of took off from there. And then, at the big league level, you make another adjustment. I was a 4-seam slider guy coming up through the minor leagues, and got to the big league level, and the 4-seam wasn't getting the swing and miss, and it wasn't really missing barrels. So had to make another adjustment there. Started tinkering around with a 2-seam just in catch play, and from there, kind of saw some positive results. I started easing it into the repertoire where I'd use a 2-seam arm side, stick with the 4-seam glove side. But throughout 2019, started seeing some real positive things with the 2-seam and the results that I was getting. But then, at that September, I think it's kind of ironic. It was like Friday the 13th.
Oh, no.
Gun. So it's like, hey, if a Friday the 13th comes, maybe I don't pitch those days anymore. But
put it in the contract.
Never again.
Oh my goodness.
So coming back from that, it was, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to whatever flaws I had in my delivery or in my stuff or anything going on. I had 14 to 16 months to like clean everything up. Any arm action issues, any delivery problems. I saw it kind of as an opportunity as to have a fresh start and to really build from the ground up and make any adjustments or tweaks that I needed to become a more consistent and a better pitcher. And with that came the COVID season, which I kind of thought was, hey, if I'm going to get injured, maybe the COVID season wasn't the worst time to do it, just seeing what those guys had to go through. And it, kind of allowed me to rehab from home. Whereas before I would have had to do the spring training, the extended, the GCL season, and kind of go through it all in Florida. Whereas this, it allowed me to have that flexibility to do it from home. And then, just came back in 21 and the rest is kind of history until kind of the unfortunate shoulder dislocation, which was another thing. Like I was like, oh man, well at least it wasn't the left shoulder, it was the right shoulder, and I think I'm a little like, oh man, because I was going to try and make a play on a squeeze. I didn't get the guy out. The guy's safe at first, and here I am on the ground with a dislocated shoulder. I was like, this is tough.
Talk about nothing going right in that scenario. Like, hey, I'm going to make a play. Oh, he's safe. Oh, my shoulder's out of socket. This is everything I hoped and dreamed.
And I honestly, I had no clue what a dislocated shoulder felt like. I watched like Friday Night Lights. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the training room. They're going to pop this thing back. And I thought it was as easy as that. Well, I knew nothing. But we still, I'm really close with Jordan Romano, our closer on the team. And he still makes fun of that day. He's like, Tim, the game was so delayed because you were just rolling around on the ground.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, Jordan, I had a dislocated shoulder. He's like, yeah, but you delayed the game. We had to wait for you to get off the field. Your legs weren't hurt. I'm like,
I got to agree with Jordan. That's pretty selfish of you. Like, suck it up, man up, put some ice on it.
Yeah. So he would joke around, and obviously it was after he found out I was okay that he decided to come up, and he's like, Tim, do you have to wear the sling? Like, now the media's asking questions and I got to answer them. I'm like, yeah. So, but no, that was a little, there was a lot more gray area in the dislocated shoulder. I wasn't sure how it was going to feel like I was throwing with one of those connection balls to make sure that it like didn't pop out of socket when I would go to pull my front side in. But that ended up being like 15 days, which is kind of, which looking back was crazy, but I was really determined to like not let it kind of derail me for the rest of the season. I was like, I'm getting back from this as soon as possible. My left arm's not hurt, so I'm going to keep that going while my right shoulder heals, and was able to make it through. But looking back, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I trust the training staff. My left arm's going to keep going in shape, and as soon as I can be pain free with the right shoulder, I'll be back in games before we know it. So,
it's like a case of, what are friends or teammates for with Romano ribbing you a little bit. It's like, I feel like we all have that set of friend group where like, if that was us on the ground, they'd be saying the same thing. So, I mean, that's how your guys love you. They enjoy your presence and whatnot. So that's awesome to see. I did want to talk. So the first pitch that you threw, because you see a lot of guys going through Tommy John, dealing with the UCL injuries right now. And whether it's a sprain, whether it's a complete tear, I mean, it's just pitchers are falling like dominoes, and it really, truly sucks to see.
Yeah.
When you took the mound for the first time post injury, what was the mindset? Was there any, I don't want to call it fear, but were you hesitant to throw a ball at first? I know the journey to get back on the field, like that's the ultimate goal, to get back out there and to throw on the mound again. But what was that mentality and that mindset the first time you're throwing a ball post injury there?
Yeah, the first couple throws when you're at 45 feet, it is an awkward feeling. And with each threshold, there's a little bit of like hesitancy with, oh, how's this going to feel? The mound for me wasn't the step that I was concerned about. It was the long toss. So I was long tossing and pulling down. And for me, it was like, okay, if I can pull down and do all this long toss, like the transition to the mound is going to be much easier. And then it's like there's a little threshold. So you're on the mound and you throw all these bullpens, but then, okay, there's live with a hitter in. And then there's a little extra adrenaline, a little extra stress maybe because you're trying to amp up a little bit. But once you get comfortable there, then it's like, okay, now there's game intensity. But I was so just like loose coming back. It was almost like a, what do I got to lose? I came back from Tommy John and I'm on the field. I made it back. I think my first appearance was in Yankee Stadium. So I made it back. It's actually funny. I got announced. They announced my name wrong opening day of 21.
Electric.
So here I am. I'm gone for a year. I'm like, oh, I made the opening day roster. And I hear I hear number 58, Tim Mayza.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, well, now people don't know who I am, so I really don't care.
And you had already been there since 17.
That's what makes it worse.
Yeah,
That's what makes
yeah.
it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, sugar.
So, but no, I was like, yeah, I was so just happy to be back that it was like, I'm taking the field. I'm in competition. I'm pitching at the highest level again. And so, there was no, once the game started, there was no like, what's this going to feel like? It's just, hey, we're going out and competing with whatever I got. And that's kind of the mindset that I took post surgery.
That's awesome, man.
It's always trying to trust it, and it's you just got to keep building things up over time.
Yeah.
I had an ankle injury back-to-back years in the minors, and trying to feel like you can believe in what's happening.
Yeah.
And if you have any type of weird feeling and sensation, that thought jumps in the back of your mind. All athletes have it, but especially now, this is your livelihood. You've been through it already, and all you want to do is get back. Well, I'm glad you're back, Tom. It's really good that you're back. That you're back in the saddle and doing well. So what are excuse me, sorry.
Spit it out.
Do you have a few of these in your place too? Sorry, I had this little guy. No. This is a vintage Blue Jay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. How about that? Stop traffic.
Yeah.
And for those that are wondering here, Tim is an opposing pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. We don't hate him. It's all love here. Zach might have a different feeling in a few hours.
Yeah, on the field, I'm sorry. I do hope you give up home runs, but it's nothing personal.
Remember this face that'll be heckling you from the bullpen tonight. Yeah.
Zach, you got a question about with pitching?
Yeah, Tim. So I was looking just through Baseball Savant earlier, and you're one of the, especially 2023, top ground ball pitchers in the game. Is that something that, is in your, when you're preparing for a game, you're like, hey, I want to keep the ball on the ground, obviously better than giving up fly balls. Yeah. But what is that like throughout your career? Was there just a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to be a ground ball pitcher? Was it when you were adding different pitches? Like what kind of got you to the point of, okay, my best, me at my best is getting ground balls?
Yeah. The thought of getting ground balls never really was like, I'm going to add a sinker and it's going to generate ground balls. It was, I'm going to add a sinker and I want to generate weaker contact.
Yeah.
And so the ground balls, I think just kind of came with it. And really, I think the ground balls is a result of pitch execution, which is really what I think it comes down to for anybody is like whatever you have in your arsenal and whatever your best pitches are, can you execute them? And so, I think just when the sinker gets executed in the areas that I'm trying to execute it, the ground balls tend to come as a result of that. I I've always been somebody who tries to get weak contact, or I want contact early in counts. I think being a 2-pitch guy, the longer guys staying at bats, the more they're kind of locked in on, okay, that pitch moves this way and this pitch moves that way, and okay, where does it start for it to finish in a spot that I can hit it hard. So I think the ground balls is just really a result of being on the attack and being able to execute pitches, you know, when I need to.
So what you're saying is you would rather, though, give up a ground ball than a homer, or do you like giving up home runs?
Yeah, I'd rather give up a ground ball than a.
What's your least favorite home run you've given up?
Oh, I don't know.
Or memorable?
The most memorable one's probably the one to Santana in the playoffs. In 22.
Well, I'm not trying to bring up sore subjects here. You mentioned this, so that's the least favorite.
Yeah.
So you'd rather give up that one than the one to Judge?
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't even think of the Judge one. I'm just like, you know.
You say you don't want to bring up sore subjects, and here you are bringing up sore subjects.
Well, if it makes you guys feel better, I get brought up every time that I'm not good. I'm not as good as my dad. I'm terrible. You're a disgrace to the family. Joe Sr. in here was writing that he hates me because I curse and my father hates me. So I get the struggles. And the thing is, I only bring it up because I know I joke with it and mess around because I know how hard it is to pitch. And you know, like, not the playoff one. That's the one that stings the most, but it's a part of the game. You know what I mean? But yes, the goal is not to let's give up a home run here. This will make my team happy.
Yeah. And with Judge, it was, I mean, I gave up that homer and I'm sitting there and I'm like, is he going to hit another one? Like, it was pretty late in the season. I said, am I going to be the guy to give up that homer on the season? And yeah, cool. Well, not cool, but now I went to, we had like a team signing, you know, a couple days after that happened. We had an off day. A few of us went to a memorabilia shop and signed some baseballs. And one guy comes up, he goes, hey, do you mind signing? I'm like, yeah. He goes, can you put Judge home run?
No.
So I'll get that every once in a while. Like, we'll go to Yankee Stadium and they'll be like, can you sign it? Oh, and can you put Judge?
Oh, man.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. But I only gave up the tying one.
Yeah, you didn't give up 62.
Right,
you didn't give up 62.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
And so it's just another home run.
Yeah.
Now, that one in Texas where the guy hit, did you see the fan try to reach for that ball in Texas,
Like,
though,
dove
too?
over the railing.
And missed it by, I don't know, 15 feet.
Yeah, and me and him were teammates. We were in Bluefield together in 2014. So me and Jesus Tinoco. So we gave up the tying and the record, and we were both from the same team in 2014. So when I saw he gave it up, I'm like, no, the two guys
back to back.
Yeah, tough year for the 2014 Bluefield Blue Jays, you know, man.
What do you think the autograph signings are like for him now?
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, sugar.
Yeah.
Well, you hate to see it. I will say, I think that's cooler than breaking your bat in high A and having 3 strikeouts, going 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, and someone saying, hey, can you write the game where you went 0 for 4 with 3 Ks? I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
and can I shove this bat right up your ass too while it's at it? But no, I would never actually do that. But it's just fun to kind of look back at those moments. It's crazy how connected things are too, by the way, that the fact that that's one of your former teammates is the one in the situation. Now, obviously, Judge got a lot of people. He actually just destroys the Orioles, by the way, over the years. And I mean, maybe not so far this year and hopefully knocking on wood. Now that's Juan Soto. Juan Soto had a great series here in Baltimore. That's a part of it. Have you ever had a hitter that is there a hitter that you love to face that's actually, you know, one of the top hitters? Like, you're like, man, I actually feel really good facing him, and vice versa. Is there someone you're like, I can't figure out how to get this guy out?
Love to face.
But you don't say love, but like you have success. So, like, for instance, Cole Irvin was on.
Yeah.
And he goes, I actually have struck out Ohtani the most out of any hitter. He's hitting 290 off me, but for some reason, I'm striking out Ohtani the most. So I was like, wow, that's an interesting kind of fact.
Yeah.
Because you don't think about Cole saying, give me Ohtani.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know I don't know if I even know the numbers of guys to be like, I'm really good against this guy, really good against that guy. But like Brett Gardner, I could not figure out.
That's interesting.
He's like the one guy I could not figure out. Like, I would get ahead of him and he'd kind of battle. And then the thing with, the longer at bats go, the more susceptible I think they are to knowing where pitches are going to end up. And he would always just kind of smack things the other way and get singles. So I think, Brett Gardner probably was my least favorite guy and to face. And that was back when the 3-batter minimum wasn't a thing. So
that's right.
The Yankees would come to town and it's like, all right, I'm going to see Gardner probably 3 times in the next 3 days. And, I'm not tricking people by any means out there. So it's like most hitters, I feel like they know what I'm throwing. I know what I'm throwing them. And then it's just a matter of, am I executing and are they seeing something that I'm not necessarily throwing? Are they looking for something and I throw something else? So.
Yeah, hitters can just be a pain in the ass. But for the Gardner's like one of those guys, just scrappy. And that's why I love just bringing it up because there's just always somebody. I think even one of my former teammates, Spencer Watkins, was with the Orioles. Now he's with the Nationals in AAA.
Yep.
He was saying like Bo Bichette was the one guy he's like, Vlad felt okay with.
Yeah.
Bo, didn't matter where it was. That dude was going to find a way to get a hit off me. And it was just like, I don't know what to do. And I just find that fascinating from the hitter side. One thing that people ask a lot, I think, Kevin, this goes to you about with being in Toronto. Do you want to ask the question real quick? Because I know, Tim, are you okay? 5 minutes, we get you out of here?
Yeah, no.
Cool.
No.
Wait, we don't want to make you miss the bus.
No.
I'll give you a ride over if I have to.
No, we're good. Bus is not for another couple hours. So.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been kind of known for this question, Tim. But going back to your journey a little bit, you obviously Pennsylvania were the roots. You go in high school, college, but then you go through the minors. When you get to Toronto, did you know anything about Toronto and just how everything was culture-wise? Or did you get there and you're just like, what is going on? This is so different than what I've been known to love and grew up in.
Yeah. I knew very little.
Okay.
So yeah, I've learned to enjoy Toronto and I've learned to love Toronto over the years, especially as my family has grown. I'm no longer the guy who just like goes back to the hotel, sits there until the next day and then just goes to the field. Like I think when I was by myself before like a wife and kids, I would always just go like hotel or Airbnb. I'd walk to Tim Hortons, walk back, and I'd sit there, play some video games until the field.
Yeah.
And now having a wife and kids, I have to like get out more, like crazy, you
need to get your walk in, resets.
Yeah. And so I've learned to really enjoy kind of Toronto and everything about it. And it's a great place, like so diverse and really you can find any type of food and they got a great restaurant for it. And it's truly a great place to play and happy that I'm there and with a great city and a great organization.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto is a place I tell people. I feel a lot of people love going to play in Toronto. Yeah. They love visiting Toronto. I know sometimes with the logistics as far as, going through customs or whatnot, that's just a part of the process. But actually, the city embraces the team. It's when the team's doing well, too. It seems like it's really vibing up there. Yeah, it seems like a really good spot. So I guess we'll ask you about I guess you're here playing Baltimore. It's actually been a little bit of a rivalry between the teams the last couple of years. A little bit kind of well, I tell people when you're in the business, you might not even think of it that way. You're like, we just got to get a job done. It doesn't matter if you're playing the Orioles, Yankees, but that's what it is. In this case for you, what have you kind of seen? Because you've seen the Orioles from really bad to now this rise. I mean, what's something that catches your eye as a player or a fan of the game that they're doing well?
Yeah. I mean, in recent years, I think at least from a pitcher talking, it's just they're kind of tough to pitch to. There's not a whole lot of striking out there. I think in a day and age where it's all about, swing and miss and getting strikeouts and outstuffing guys, I think they do a good job of putting balls in play and kind of forcing you to kind of pitch contact and and now they got a little bit of pop in that lineup. So it kind of makes them tough to pitch to. Adley is honestly a pest up there.
Yes, he is.
He will foul some pitches off. He'll see some pitches and there's always that kind of power aspect to him as well. But yeah, just up and down the lineup, just got a lot of guys who make contact and get you to pitch the contact. yeah, they got a good lineup and they got a good thing going over there. So we're just coming in and trying to play good baseball and hopefully get a couple wins.
Yeah, I gotta ask this question then though, because you mentioned Adley.
Yeah.
Does anyone talk about RYan Mountcastle? Because I don't mean to be that guy.
You're gonna be this guy.
I'm gonna
You're
be
gonna
that
be
guy.
this guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. RYan seems to like playing you guys. I don't know why. I don't know if it's something with Toronto. I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The way you talk about, Judge and Soto kind of is kind of the way we talk about Mountcastle. And it's just, you got to, you got to attack him. And obviously it seems like in recent series, he's done real well against us. But yeah, he's just, he's a guy who likes, for whatever reason, seeing when the Blue Jays are in town.
He hates the color blue.
Yeah.
Like the powder blue.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't know what it is. It turns him into the Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. So yeah, he's been tough on us. We just we'll find hopefully areas of weakness that maybe we can exploit and hopefully we can exploit and go from there. But yeah, he's kind of been a thorn in our side recently. But like I mentioned before, like that lineup is pretty complete. So
yeah.
It's not like you could just kind of be like, hey, we're not going to let Mountcastle beat us, because then he has guys behind him who are pretty good. As much as we talk about Mountcastle and like Henderson and Rutschman, I think Santander doesn't get nearly enough credit in that lineup
at all.
So
that's the thing I appreciate, honestly, the baseball side of it, because a lot of people have been saying, because Santander has struggled, they're like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Go call someone up. It's like, well, wait a minute. If I did my math right, and I do my math right here, Tim, he's been the best run producer for the Orioles the last 2 seasons. He's averaged 30 home runs, led the team in RBIs and extra base hits. But because he's hitting 217 right now, that people are going, he's a little bit down. Tony's very calm, and he's actually third on the team in RBIs with 25. What do you got, Rock?
Just, the fact that you could talk about a player's success on the O's, but like when I do it, it's a problem. Because last week, Cole Irvin had a scoreless inning streak, and I asked him about it. He was on the show, and I, brought it up. And the very next game, what happens? Cole Irvin, his scoreless streak, it gets snapped. But like he can bring up Mounty's success and this and that, and it's all okay because he played baseball and I didn't, Tim. So it's like I guess it's okay when RYan does it, but when I do it, it's just not.
You don't, Tim. If you're throwing a no hitter, are you going to say
that's? Oh my God, that's completely different. I mean, Tim, the announcer. Anyway, go ahead.
Are you superstitious when it comes to your pitching?
I think the right answer is no, but I think there are times when things are going good, you might start falling into traps. Like, hey, I was at this place at this time, and I gotta be there again.
In the minors, and because the Lynchburg Hillcats saved my career, because I was hitting 160 for 6 weeks after I came back from injury. Thought this is it. Went to this pizza shop down below that did karaoke, and I got 3 hits that night. Where do you think I went the next night? Right back to that spot. Right. So that's the type of thing Rocco is trying to say. He's like, hey, Cole, you did something you'd never done in your career, man.
It was just exciting. I was happy for the guy, and I got a little ahead of myself. Next time, I said when we have Cole back on the show, I'm going to say, hey, Cole, you could have done better. And that's how I'm going to start the interview, and then we're going to go into it. And then I'm going to talk about it.
And luckily, still pitch fine. And the other thing with me is, again, we talked about this. You come on this show, players have had success. I'm just saying, Cowser came on here. He went deep that night. Westberg came on. He's still in fuego right now. It seems like death taxes, and he hits a walk-off hit. Tom Mayza is going to go. I can't wait. I'm going to get some Tom shirts now. Yeah, I'll send them up to Toronto for you. We have 2 fun questions. We'll get you out of here, though, because this is, I think it's interesting. There's been a few benches clearing recently. Yeah. I think, Zach, this is where you're going with this.
Yeah, Tim, being in the bullpen, when the bench is clear, how useless do you feel running at? Like, is it just an annoyance when you're like, you got to run all the way there, and by the time you get there, everything's already over, and then you just got to walk back? Do you see the benches clear and you're like, really? Are we doing this?
Running in for a benches clearing, very similar to running in pitching, kind of damage control. By the time you get in there, it's like, all right, hey, where I got to do? Who am I separating, this and that? The thing that cracks me up is like bullpens like this, where the bench is clear and you're running side by side with the bullpen. You know, I'm like, hey, if we're going to do this, should we just stay out here and we could just go to one another's bullpen and kind of do it that way?
Be.
Yeah, like
because you're running side by side, and then you get there, and then everything kind of calms down, and you walk back with the bullpen that you just ran, you know, with the opposing bullpen. And it's like, hey, so how about that bench is clearing, huh?
Yeah.
What'd you do? I held this guy back. All right.
Yeah. So actually, I think the recent one in Baltimore was the Brewers and Orioles, and so I'm close with Bauman too, and I just saw Bauman just kind of hopping out there.
Yeah.
Like, are we just? And he was down that night. I'm like, are you? And he goes, well, we just needed to get out there. You know, and I go, I don't know what we're doing. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. It's kind of, it's interesting. It's not like back in the 90s when, have you ever seen the Armando Benitez Orioles Yankees brawl?
No.
Oh, that would be a good one to watch. And poor Tino Martinez, man. A couple times, the guy in front of Tino when he was on the Mariners and the Yankees hit a go-ahead home run, and Armando Benitez wasn't too happy, and he just drilled the next batter. That next batter was Tino Martinez. So 98 twice to the body.
Yeah.
And benches clear. The brawl went into the dugout, and the bullpen ran in and tried to square up. So I'm waiting for you to get in there and square. It's a different day and age, but you're saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, when you get in there, you're like, you really don't. You're just hoping to you know, calm it down a little bit. I mean, by the time you get in there, everything has escalated and come down. You're like, all right, I'm ready.
Well, what they should do is when they're fighting on the field by rule, the bullpen should also fight. Right, you come out of the bullpen, you just fight right there. The bullpens also fight.
Yeah, is that what they should do, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the next.
I mean, I knew a guy, roomed with him in extended spring training. He was injured. His first day in the big leagues, just got called up, was the Batista Odor.
Oh, wow.
That was his first day in the big leagues, was that day of the fight. I'm like, what a day to be a part of.
That's incredible.
That's a welcome to the MLB moment right there.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's like, it's my first day. Like, I don't want to get ejected. I don't know what to do.
And that's the other thing is like, you're just trying to figure out how to be a big leaguer here. And like, oh crap, two of these guys that have been around for a little bit, they're going at it. Oh, let me get in there. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sent back down because I'm suspended. I mean, it's a different day and age, right? It's different mindset mentalities, and it's all part of it. Also, one of our friends, shout out Cube, did a stat check. Who do you think you've struck out the most in your career?
Oh, wow.
It's going to be an AL East opponent.
Yeah.
He was a Boston Red Sox.
I don't think strucken out is a word, by the way, Rip. I think it's struck out.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
I'm gonna strucken out you here in a moment here, Rocco. Go ahead. Do you have an idea here, Tim?
I'm assuming he's probably left-handed.
He is.
Wow. Playing still or not?
He is, I believe.
I don't think he's on an active roster though, is he?
Let me look it up.
Center fielder.
Oh, is it Jackie Bradley?
Jackie Bradley Jr.
There you go.
And we were teammates for a little bit. Never knew that, but yeah, wow, yeah, that would make sense because you know, before the balanced schedule, you'd play you know, Division 18 times, and yeah.
I was thinking about this too. I would have hated facing you as a lefty. I would have despised it because you have such a funky arm slot. I've already seen it, and I'm like, you know what? Luckily, I don't have to face you. And even after the fact, I'd be like, hey, I still like you, but like, cut me some slack here, man. But it's just the inner workings of the game. And again, the connective, of course you played with Jackie Bradley. Of course you knew someone that was in the Batista Odor. And of course, then you and your teammate are a part of history with Aaron Judge. Yeah. But who will remember that? Okay, this is a fun one that we wanted to bring in. This is a very controversial one in Baltimore. So are you okay with this?
Sure.
Okay. So this one is sponsored by our friends over at Stuggies. Have you ever had a crab mac and cheese hot dog? Have you had one yet? Okay. It's a big Baltimore thing. So Stuggies in the stadium, they do a crab mac and cheese hot dog. It's phenomenal. That's not where we get controversial though. This is where we get controversial. If you're going to the ballpark, and you got a choice, putting a condiment on. Mustard, relish, ketchup, or you can go plain. Tim Mayza, what is going on your dog?
Ketchup.
Yes, sir.
Just
That's
ketchup?
what I'm talking
Just
about.
Ketchup.
That's what I'm talking about. That's like, I get like killed for that, man. Everyone, he has his plane. He's a relish guy. Like, I enjoy ketchup on my dogs, and that's it. And like, everyone just roasts me for it, and I don't understand. So it's like, I love it.
Yeah. Just ketchup.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was actually an easy answer. But yeah.
Is that like, I wonder, Tim, if that's like a PA thing, if we're just like built different in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So
Oh
like,
my
we just
goodness.
go with the ketchup on the dogs, and that's what we enjoy.
Well, it's because like you guys kind of know you don't know each other, but Rocco, I think, knows
this
your
is
dad.
all right. You talk about a small world. So my dad knows your dad and your uncle.
Okay.
And my buddy, who's like a really good friend of mine growing up, is like your cousin, but he's like, he has no clue that I'm his cousin. Went to Millersville at the same time, Costello family.
Okay.
So it's like small world, crazy. But my dad knows your father and your Uncle John as well.
Yeah. So my grandmother's maiden name's Costello.
Yeah. So that's like, but you probably never met them, but it's just like, just small world. Had to throw that out there. It's funny because when Tim pitched at Camden Yards, I think the last time I went up, my dad's like, hey man, like if you get a chance, like go over and say something to Tim in the bullpen. And I'm like, dude, like, first of all, he's in the middle of a game. Second of all, he's not going to give a crap. So I go over to the bullpen and I'm like, Tim, and you come over and I'm like, hey man, my dad says he knows your dad and uncle. And you're like, that's great, man. He's just like back to pitching. And I'm like,
well, especially when you explain it as.
Wait, that happened?
Yeah, dude, I swear to God, it happened. It was so funny.
Tim, don't you love when
I call
fans
my
come
dad,
up and
I'm
tell
like-
you
I'm like,
stupid
hey, Dad,
shit?
you made me look like an a-hole, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. So it was great.
Yeah,
Like
see,
now
look at
we're
us.
reunited by putting ketchup on the dogs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you can't tell you how
Dude,
many
it was so
times
funny.
we've had moments like you, Rocco. Exactly, and especially if you explained it. Hey, my dad knows your cousin's cousin, friend's
Dude, I don't even know how
brother.
I phrased it, but I was like,
Clearly
first of
not
all,
good
why am
enough.
I was like sitting there like, number one, why am I doing this? And number two, I was just like, this is not going to go well. And I appreciate you. Good man, Tim.
Tim, you could smile it off too, man. Be like, yeah, this guy next to me is a crazy son of a bitch. Oh God, yeah. You know what, Justin? There it is. I'm so awkward. Rocco, you're a good kid though.
Unbelievable. Man.
It's
It is what it
okay.
is.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, Tim. Before a lot of people want to ask about the folder ball question, but Brad's not here, so
Yeah,
I feel a
Brad's
little
not.
wrong
We'll leave it
asking
to
that.
Brad.
We'll leave it there. Hey, do you want a roost start for the road though? By the way,
Yeah, sure.
are you on a diet or no?
Kind of, sort of, but I can use some. I can put on some weight.
Okay,
There you
good.
go.
So
That's
the-
what Rocco says. Rocco goes between bulking and cutting depending on the meal he's having.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. If there's like snacks and you're offering me free food, I'm going to take it. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
You
Right?
got
It's
your,
like,
you got your pre-workout today?
I will take that after I leave here, and then we'll go to the gym and
A couple streams ago, he took his pre-workout on stream.
Oh,
and he
dude, it was bad. It was brutal. I was just like,
And then he was
I'm
yelling
never
at
doing that
us
again.
like it was our issue. He's like, "Why are we still on?" I was like, "You took the pre-workout an hour before we finished."
Yeah, it wasn't the best idea I've ever had in my life, but
it's not.
I think
we
it was
also-
a better idea than going up to Tim in a bullpen game at Baltimore.
I
So,
think
you know.
anything is
That's
probably.
What's worse? One chip challenge, your pre-workout, or you awkwardly going up to someone you've never met and trying to articulate that you know
one
their
chip
cousin?
challenge,
Yeah,
hands
that's
down. That is
easy.
number
That's
2,
easy.
and then the pre-workout's number 3.
One
Have-
chip challenge. was
Have,
just awful.
have you ever? Did you know what the one chip challenge is, Tim?
No.
Oh no. Well, don't ever try it.
Don't.
When we hit over 5,000
Dude,
on
it's-
YouTube, Rocco volunteered with
That
Zach
was
to take the
Dumbest
hottest
decision
chip.
of my life. Yeah.
on
Wow.
and
Never
that,
good.
well, so originally I said let's take it at the end of the stream so like we can have an actual show and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They vetoed that and we're like, no, as soon as we get on, let's do it. So me and Rocco are not able to talk for the first
Yeah.
45 minutes of this stream.
We thought we both, he told me he's done it before. So he thought it was going to be, I was like 1 to 10, like worst pain you've ever felt in your life. And I think you said a 10, like
Yeah.
you were up there. And I'm like, how bad can this be?
Yeah.
It's like, I like spicy foods. I enjoy it. And you see people do the one chip challenge. I literally sat up all night watching videos of people just like hyping myself up. Like I could do this. You could do this. We had milk. We had bread. You're supposed to last like, they had like a meter on it. If you lasted like 3 to 5 minutes, you were like a champion. Like you could, you conquer the world. If you lasted 10 minutes, you're insane. We got to, I think we had the timer out.
1 minute and 14 seconds.
1 minute and 14 seconds. I was reaching for the milk immediately. My face started to swell up, everything, man.
So
It's
bad.
like,
You
would
know what?
never recommend doing that. It was one of the worst experiences.
Tim, you know what?
of my
I'll
life
send
by
you the
far.
videos.
All
I'll
right.
send you the videos and the facial expressions. It's a great meme. It really is. And it's so idiotic
So
because it was
bad.
all self-inflicted. I did not say that you guys should do that when we hit a milestone. I said we will come up with something else. And Rocco's like, we're doing the challenge. Great.
Never again.
That sounds like misery to me.
Yeah.
But the Roost Tarts wise, there's strawberry cheesecake, there's brown sugar, there's Oreo. There's also like churro waffles over there. I'll show you here in a second when you get up here. And then Kevin, you can have your little Kevin's Corner here for a moment if you
There
want.
you go. Fix your hair a little bit too, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, but for everyone here, this is Tim Mayza, or formerly also known as Tom Mayza. But hey, good luck tonight. Thank you for joining us. And actually, I'll be over at the yard later, so I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Tim Mayza, everybody.
Tim.
Appreciate you.